My name is Jeff Mulzer, and I serve as a volunteer for the Chamber of Commerce of Southwest Indiana's Government Affairs Committee. Today, I had the pleasure of interviewing Rick Davis, who is a candidate seeking the election to the office of County Treasurer. Please note, the same set of questions will be used for both candidates running for this office. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you for having me today.
Let's get started. Please state your name, the office you're seeking, and your current position or employment.
My name is Rick Davis. I'm running for County Treasurer, and I am the incumbent County Treasurer, so I'm running for re-election.
Okay. As a candidate for the Vanderburgh County Treasurer, please list your top 3 priorities and explain why the business community should support your candidacy.
First and foremost, I'm going to continue looking for efficiencies and budget reducing initiatives in my office, which I've already been proven as an office holder to do. I've cut 7.7% of our staff in the Treasurer's office due to attrition, which leads to cost savings in taxpayers' property tax bills. I've also reduced our in-house printing budget from $65,000 per year to $15,000 per year, a savings of $50,000 per year. Again, that's a savings that is passed on to everyone when they receive their property tax bill. I've also eliminated a part-time account and have relied upon college interns during the summer to do some summertime duties when people are on vacation or maternity leave, that type of thing. So again, it's another issue where I've tried my best to save property tax dollars. Secondly, I would like to introduce electronic billing to Vanderburgh County. Currently, we mail out 100% of the property tax bills. And I would like to take advantage of current law and begin to electronically bill people their property taxes, which would save the county on postage. There are still some kinks we need to iron out working with our current vendor, our software provider, but I do foresee that happening in the next year or two. And finally, I'm in the process right now of trying to persuade our county council to allow the county treasurer's office to invest our portfolio 25% maximum up to 5 years. And the reason why is the Fed is not going to increase rates at all, and they are basically at the floor right now. It's going to be at least 2 more years before interest rates creep up. And when you're looking at 1- and 2-year investments, which is allowed by law right now, there's basically no yield on that investment. And the sweet spot is about 4 years right now. You can basically double the county's investment dollar while keeping our investment safe. And first of all, safety is the utmost of my priorities when investing dollars. But we have such a conservative state in only 2 years, it would be really nice to get this up to a 5-year level so that we can maximize our dollar. Every dollar that we earn in interest income is a dollar that the county council does not have to tax our taxpayers. So those are 3 very big things I would like to do and continue doing for the county.
Okay. Do you support the Kernan-Shepard initiative? And please explain your answer.
Well, right now we have an initiative on our ballot that's going to appear on November 6th that is basically a morph of Kernan-Shepard. Kernan-Shepard I am against, not wholly. There are some things in the Kernan-Shepard plan that I do agree with, but the majority of what I disagree with is putting too much power in too few hands and eliminating checks and balances. And for those of you who don't know what checks and balances are that are watching this, when you do a Google search of checks and balances, the #1 return you're going to get is corruption. Checks and balances fights corruption, and it's not always successful. Occasionally, a county official will get caught with his hand in the cookie jar, so to speak. So even though we have a level of government in place right now with checks and balances, it's still not 100% foolproof. However, under Kernan-Shepard, I feel corruption will be more prevalent in local government, so that's why I'm against it.
Okay. As economic development becomes increasingly vital to our community's success, what are your ideas in stimulating economic growth, creating jobs, and retaining current employers in the Evansville-Vanderburgh area?
As a county treasurer, I don't get my hand in economic development very much. However, I did run for mayor last year, and I do have several ideas that I introduced last year in my run for mayor which are still relevant today for our current leaders in office. So I would invite anyone to go to my website, pickrickdavis.com, and look at those ideas. However, as county treasurer, I do auction off around 500, 550 parcels every year at our property tax sale. And I want everyone to know that vacant homes in this community are an epidemic, and they're becoming a plague. In the city limits, the last study I saw, about 14 out of every 100 homes are vacant. And this plague is now, because of the foreclosure issue and the economic collapse of 2008, those vacant homes are now starting to spread out into the county. People walk away from the homes, they close the door, lock the door, they walk away from the home, and it is a bad memory, and they never want to come back. Well, under that scenario, if they pay their spring property tax bill, it could be nearly 3 years before that property gets in good paying hands again in the future because of the processes we have in place. And again, it's to protect property rights. However, these people have no reason at all to want to ever go back into that home. It's been foreclosed upon. Windows get broken, trees start growing out of the gutter, and what happens to the rest of us? Our property values decline as a result. I would like to lobby the state legislature, and I already have, but I like to continue lobbying them, into reducing our current property tax sale requirement in half. And that way, it gets these homes back in good hands in half the time, and it helps prevent our property values in our neighborhoods from going down. And that would be one of my major things to do while still in office as your county treasurer.
Okay. What actions locally do you propose to ensure that local government will maintain the level of service on behalf of the taxpayer but maintain a balanced budget?
I'm wearing the button on my lapel right now. The number one way to do that, I feel, is for people to vote no on November 6th on our current reorganization plan. And the reason I say that is the current reorganization plan is vague and it doesn't have a lot of meat on it. And a lot of the blanks will be filled in after we vote. Some of the blanks that have been filled in, though, are a red flag to me. First and foremost, our mayor, who will present the budget, and our county, or our common council as they will call it, a 15-member council, will all be elected on the same ballot in the same year, and re-elected on the same ballot in the same year. I'm terribly afraid that will lead to one-party rule. As for instance, in 2008, during the 2008 election when Barack Obama was elected, everybody who was on the ballot as a Democrat, you had a greater chance of winning than if you had a Republican on your name. And same in 2010. In reverse, though, if you were a Republican, you had a far greater chance of getting elected than as a Democrat. Our current system in place for our county leaders is that 4 out of our 7 council members are elected on one ballot, and 2 out of 3 are elected on one ballot of commissioners. And then 2 years later, we have 1 commissioner who runs and 3 county council members. So we have staggered terms that also lead to continuity. We don't get all new commissioners or all new council who have no idea what the previous council was doing. So I'm terribly afraid when we get a mayor of the same party and a vast majority of the council on the same party, that will lead to one-party rule. And then look out for the budgets. The budgets will greatly increase because you have office holders who are of the same party, and the checks and balances are eliminated as a result as well. You also look at annexation. Recently, the Knight Township in the county, those residents were annexed into the city limits. Their property tax rate increased 73%. Not 7%, 73%. And water rates for the folks who live in the city will go up 10% on top of the $250 million infrastructure needs that are going to be required for ratepayers on our water and sewer utility department. So those are some of the reasons why I feel people should vote no. And always remember what Harry Truman said. He said, when you have an efficient government, you have a dictatorship. Our current form of government does have some stumbling blocks, but that's for a reason. That is to protect us and our property rights. Our current government is in place to protect us against poor leadership. And I feel this plan, as it's presented, will not do that anymore. This plan assumes that everyone we elect are good leaders and will make good decisions 100% of the time. And we all know that is not the case at any level of government. So if you'd like to learn more about me, you can go to my website, pickrickdavis.com. I have some a position paper on consolidation or reorganization as it's going to appear in the ballot, and you can learn more on why I feel it's not the right thing for Vanderburgh County and the city of Evansville to do at this point.
Okay. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you for having me.
For our viewers, this interview and all the candidate interviews conducted by the Chamber of Commerce for Southwest Indiana will be accessible on the Chamber's website at www.ccswin.com. Please note the content of this video interview and all the candidate interviews are only for authorized use by the Chamber of Commerce of Southwest Indiana.